be strong and resilient. And when I did get a break, I did go back home, and my home was only like 4 miles away. And at residential school, it is so strict that it was hard to be to be strong enough to know that my mom cared for me. The residential school system, it let me down in a certain way, and but what that did, it made me stronger, and not in a physical way, but like a spiritual way. And it's to know your culture and your roots and where you did come from, and the family values of me as a dad and a grandparent. And during the residential school, it was hard because I got like the strappings, and I remember in grade 1 when they got the hickory stick out, and for not really misbehaving, but I got the hickory stick over my knuckles. And during my childhood, there is maybe it is a good thing I went to residential school, because to me there is lots of suicides, and because of what things happen to them, and I don't really wish it on anybody. And that was a part of the whole residential system, is to me intimidate you to behave. And what that did is it put fear in me, intimidation, fear, and I learned to be a good student. And it was just year by year for me, and the lonely part of that. And because when you're born, you're nurtured by your mom, and for life, and for not to get those hugs, and like a mother's role, and it just wasn't there. And I kind of resent that, but I just I really wish I could. I don't know, if I start talking about it, it just makes me more angry, and I'm still angry about that, and the way we were treated at residential school. And one thing about I don't know if I should say this, but when they found those graves, empty graves at Kamloops, and there are stories about that, and that I don't know if I could be like judgmental, but it made me hate the nuns and the priests, and because who can you trust? And but for me, even the principal was involved with me, and that really affected my childhood, and you know, for a good remedy for that is to drink, to forget, and to me, I was I was in the hippie stage, and I'd smoke pot just to forget, and to me, that's like having like a bottle of beer or a bottle of whiskey, and but but you know, I'll forgive everybody, but I won't forget, and that's just my thought about the residential system. I'm still I'm still mad at the supervisors, and the whole residential system, the way they operated for like 7 generations, and to me, lots of the survivors, they didn't want to talk about it because of the shame, and lots of the survivors, they took that to the grave with them because of they just don't wanted to talk about it, and you know, you need to be more open about it now for the counseling and the reconciliation, and all the horrible stories that I heard from the survivors, being hungry, and going to the garbage dump, and rooting through the garbage, and because they just didn't feed you right, and like I heard a story about like moldy bologna that they gave, and the I remember at St. George's, I remember every single breakfast, it is porridge, because we called it mush, and but if I got hungry, I went and stole apples, or got some Saskatoon berries, and rated apples, rated cherries, and but if they didn't feed us properly, we went and stole things, and I know that wasn't right, but you have to do that if you're hungry, and I really wish I could talk to other survivors about their time at the residential school, but I have friends from the Nishka and the Gitsan, and the Tsimshian, and even like the ones in Lytton, and because I'm part of two nations. I'm part of the Tsimshian nation, and my Lytton is Nlaka'pamux nation, and I still feel strongly about both my nations, and I do the artwork that represents my Nlaka'pamux nations, and even the Tsimshian nation, and but my childhood was it was it was bad for the loneliness part of it, and like the abuse that you got. I just don't really wish it on anybody, and I wish more survivors would really talk about it. And I haven't been really open about the my residential schools until now. What I'm talking about now is just my experience that I had at the residential school as a child. And I remember when when my mother-in-law would she'd talk about in her Somalia language, and I really thought she was talking about me, and so in my Nlaka'pamux language, I'd say Jukush Yaya, and that means don't, grandma, and but she knew the meaning of that too, and I explained that to her, and but I had to use that phrase a few times with her, and but I always had a good relationship with my mother-in-law, and God bless her soul, and but one thing about that, she raised my children in a good way, and pointed them the right direction, and the way they should have been taught in residential school, and to get hugs and compliments, and not to be belittled from the supervisors, and now now I hold my head up high, and but you know, if you look down, it's shame, and I don't really look down and to be ashamed of myself, and I'm a proud father and a grandfather, and if I went through it again, I'd do it differently, and maybe not in an anger way, but it to me that I really wish that I could turn back time and go back there and really talk to the nuns and the priests, and have a good council session with them, and so they understand and we understand, and but that's just my thought about my childhood. My childhood, it was mostly when I really thought about that, I thought, you know, when I was at residential school, you have like a summer break, and maybe 2 months of the year you get to see your mommy and have a good close relationship, and but then after I graduated, I left Lytton, and I was trying to do the math, and to see really how long I spent with my mom, and it was like the first 6 years, and there's a really big gap in the 13 years, and then I left Lytton, and there's a really bigger gap, and but that's just my thought about being at the residential school for like 10 months of the year, and it's the loneliness is still there, and the loneliness would never be forgotten. And but there are some triggers for me if I hear that train a long ways away, and it triggers my memory, and I have lots of good memories about that, and but it's just um, for me, I have a good family now, and and all the residential schools are closed now, and it's time to do some healing, and because I know there is like a big apology, but not to me. It wasn't really sincere, and a hug is always better than a handshake, and that's just my thoughts. And but because in the latter years, I finally did get the courage to hug, and I don't know, maybe I just the nurturing and the hugging it all comes together, and that's just my thoughts about that, and I can't think of anything else to say, but